Let's take a look now at the drastically improved Mass Move tool in Lumion 6. So we'll go into our movie mode and take a look at some of our effects. Now, keep in mind that effects can either be applied to a clip or to the entire timeline. And so on this particular project, we worked on this over the summer. This one, the effects are applied to the entire movie. We just needed that one shot here. And you can see that as we fly through, people are walking along the paths. Really brings a lot of life into the animation. All right, so we'll go over here and then cycle through and get to the first page of our effects. And that's where we have that Mass Move tool. So when I click on Edit, let's take a look at these Mass Move paths. Now, something to keep in mind here is that this project was built entirely in Lumion 5. So this really gives us a good indication of what these paths were like previously. So here you can see, you click on a path and you have the opportunity or the option to create two nodes with one path between them. So really, you could move these different nodes around and adjust where they go, but you really only have the option of these people walking along that one path. Now check out what happens though. This is the challenge of the Mass Move tool. For instance, on this path, if I slide this guy along, watch what happens to this woman as she gets to the end of the path. She just disappears. So as you go along, they just disappear. And so, as valuable of an addition as the Mass Move tool was, it still took a little bit of trial and error and trickery in order to get it to really do exactly what you wanted. Because what you'd end up with is people in your animation kind of disappearing or appearing, or and then I think some of them would do like an about face and turn around right when they get to the end of the path. So depending on the type of, let's see, if we toggle two directions, let's see, they get to the end. No, they always just disappear. So really the bottom line is that we just don't want people appearing and disappearing in our animations. And so with the addition or the improvement of the Mass Move tool in Lumion 6, we now have the ability to create, it's been really pushed as curved paths, but I think what I'm most psyched about is the fact that we can do more complex paths with multiple nodes. So let's go through, let's work on the people first. So I'll just go and hit delete, and we're going to trash these paths that we created in Lumion 5, and we're going to create one long complex path, and that way we'll be able to grab all these people, or at least a lot of them, and get them all walking in a much more predictable way with one path, and really just get the effect that we want. I really don't care where the people are so much. Just I don't want them disappearing and appearing on the page, or on the frame. All right, so I've deleted those paths that we were using for the people. We'll get to the path that we have here for the cars in just a moment. All right, so we'll go to add a new path. So you click there, and I think what I'll do is go from let's see, we'll go from here, and then I'm going to make sure that I'm clicking on the surface here. So I'll come over to this area here, click once there. Oh, give it a solid click, and then you can see that added that path like before. Now what I have to do is hold Control. When I hold Control, I can add another node here. So I'll just go down here, kind of just eyeballing the center, and hold Control, continue holding Control, and we'll add some paths over here, holding Control again, and I'll come down here, and we'll just do something like this, and then let's go all the way to the end. I'll hold Control. So now this way, when I click way down there, I'm going to grab all these people, and I can even I want to scoot this one down. So once I click on this move, let's see. Oh, I didn't get that last click in. So let me hold Control and then click down there. There it is. All right. So once I let go of Control, I can click and drag and move any of these nodes. They're all editable. So that's kind of nice. That's similar to what we had before. And each one of these nodes also has the ability to adjust a curve. So like on this one, I can click here, And then when I click on a node, it gives me this ability to dial up the smoothness. So you can see here, I can make that path kind of round that turn, so these people aren't kind of on a jagged, quick, abrupt turn. So I think that'll look a little bit better if she makes a nice smooth turn around there. And then over here, I can do the same thing. I can click on this node and dial up the smoothness based on each one of these nodes, like that. So we'll get some nice rounding paths. And we could go through and do that on all of them if we're really going to be careful with it. But for this particular example, I just want to show you how this works and just make it work. So let's move that one over there. And then I'm going to dial up the path width. So the path width, you can see that I got a little warning here. What that means is we're getting like a conflict here. So I think it's probably best just to dial down that path width until it's not red, and then we're good to go. All right, so that path width, what that does is where it stretches out, it's going to grab any nodes of people. Oh, let me do this. Let's see. I accidentally right-clicked. So as I was going to navigate. So let me briefly explain too that a right-click will delete a node. So if I right-click here, I can delete that node. And so now I've got that gone, and now it just connects the dots. If I want to add a node, I can hold Control and hover on that edge. So what that does is when I click here, it adds a node there, and then I can click and drag that node down here. And then I've got that node selected, and I can dial up its smoothness again. So you can see how, if that node is, if you right-click on a node, it deletes it. If you hover on the edge, hold Control, and click, that will add a node. So very editable, easy to really create these paths, edit the paths, and make them what you need. All right, so let's take a look at what this path is doing. So again, the width of the path, it's reaching out and grabbing, basically like this guy has a little node under him, and so this path is easily going to grab that. But this person here, they're outside that path, so they're not going to be grabbed on this one. So as I slide this, you can see this person is not moving, whereas everyone else that's been grabbed is. So then you can see we get that kind of nice rounded corner. I'm kind of watching up here to see how these people bend around that corner. Looks pretty good. So really what you get is just a much, much easier way to get everyone on your screen without having to create a bunch of like long linear paths. I always found myself making these like really long paths trying to get this like natural traffic flow of people just walking, whereas now you can just create like this long path where it starts off the frame and ends off the frame, and no matter what happens, there's just gonna be random people traveling along there. Keep in mind too that you can toggle like on this particular path that's selected right here. You can click on other paths. If I go here, like click on that path, click on this path. So this particular path, I might want to toggle. I don't want imported objects to be on there, and I don't want cars to be on that path. So now it's really restricted to only people. Now if I wanted to get this woman included in the path, what I might do is just kind of scoot this node over here, maybe just drag this node over here a bit, and then maybe drag this one over here a bit too. And now it's going to recalculate that path, and you can see that she's walking now. So that looks pretty good. Cool. All right, so that's how we kind of edit and manage those paths. That looks pretty decent. And it seems to me, I really haven't used this in a real project yet as far as like really getting after it, but it seems like this is going to be a huge benefit when it comes to producing very convincing animations. Let's take a look at this path for the cars. You can see like previously what I did. When you look at this one, I just made like a really long linear path, and the only thing that you can get to happen is these cars just kind of traffic going, and then you've got like this traffic is stopped. So that's kind of a bummer, because I mean it was nice, you could frame your shots and make it work, but like I don't know, it's just maybe limited and rather difficult to really get some more complex animations happening. So with this new effect, or this improvement to the mass move effect, now what I can do, let's see, I'm just going to work off of this one that we've already got. So I can just scoot this over here. I'll hold Control and see that's going to let me add a node. So maybe what I do is I'll go like this. Well, actually, I just want to put this node over here. like right in the middle, I suppose, or like that. Hold Control and drop another node way down there. Now, this path, I would say I should probably shrink it just a little bit because I think it's going to grab these other cars. So you can see here, I don't want to grab the nodes for these cars. So my path width, we'll shrink that down just a bit. All right, and let's see. So we're going to have a little bit of a conflict over here, and you could kind of plan your models accordingly. We'll keep the path width up, but let me just maybe scoot this bit over here. No, we would probably actually what you would want to do is make a turning lane, right? So we would just drop our path width. I'd put one. See, this opens up all kinds of opportunities. So let's put one here. So it's going to be like a 2-lane turn. So you can see it's only going to grab these cars, and then it's only going to run down and grab these cars. And I can put this like kind of all the way at the end too. So that's good like that. This particular one, I want it to be one-way traffic, so that's good. It's going to head this way. So check out what happens. They go around that turn pretty sharp. See how that works? All right, so that's decent, but really what's more realistic is we'd have a nice rounded out turn. So I'm going to click once on this node, and that's going to bring up this path corner node smoothness, and I can dial that up and get a nice clean turn. So now my cars are just really going to make a more realistic turn. Perfect. All right, and then I think what I would do for these other guys is most likely I would go and delete these cars just to make it a real traffic pattern. I probably wouldn't have a bunch of cars there. There'd be more of like this, I suppose even more realistically, there'd only be one turn, but whatever. We'll add another path and go from here to here. Oh, give it a nice solid click. And then let's make that path a little bit wider. And then you can see here as I slide this, those guys aren't going quite fast enough, so let's just dial up their speed. There we go. That looks pretty good. So now we've got a much more complex traffic pattern. I don't know that that's going to make or break your presentation, but it's definitely going to save you time when you're trying to accomplish these different effects. And maybe it's the extra touch that you need to sell the job. So let's take a look at what we created. I'll click on play. So now we've got our cars going, and the truth is we don't even see the turning cars, but no big deal. I think I left them out for that reason. But all of our people now are just very easily walking along that path. Shoot, I should have added these guys up front. So let's go back here, mass move, and let's look at what we're doing here. So see, I should have included these people in there too. So maybe I'll just go add a new path like this, and we'll just do that. Let's see what that does for us. So we at least get something final. I probably should have run that first one down that path. Okay, here we go. Flying by. So all these people are walking along the path just as I hoped they would, and we're all good. Now here what we can do is maybe I'll just take this first shot. Let's take the first shot from here now, and we'll update our view, and then let's say OK, and now you can see we got a few cars turning there right before we go off the frame. Pretty cool. So anyway, take a stab at that. Pretty cool new little tweaks in Mass Move that is really going to be helpful, I think, for our animations in the future. So yeah, take a stab at it and check out the other tutorials.